You're listening to This Week in the World of Football, which is coming to you from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. The purpose of this podcast is to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. The intent is to educate, inform, and entertain you, the listener, with the glorious buffet that is the world of football, while also keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. You can find this show on a multitude of podcast platforms as well as on YouTube. Timestamps are provided in the show description, so you can jump to the topics you really want to listen to. So without further ado, let's kick off this week's show.
Hello again, everyone. This is episode 390 for April 22nd, 2025. I am your host, Randy Snow. On this week's show, Lee Corso is retiring from ESPN's College GameDay after 38 years. Former Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava is heading to UCLA. And a new football/horror movie is coming to theaters this September. But I'm not here all by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son, Adam.
Hi, how you doing, everybody? It's great to be here. We're 10 shows away from episode 400.
Yeah, we've been trying to think of what we can do for our 400th show. If you got some suggestions, go ahead and let us know what you think we ought to be doing.
Yeah, we got 10 weeks to figure this thing out because this snuck up on us.
With our 300th, we had my daughter make us a cake in the shape of a football and had 300 on it, so I don't know what we're going to do this time around, but we'll do something. We'll think of something between now and then. Not only do we have this weekly podcast, but we also make YouTube videos. We currently have 550 videos on our YouTube channel, including some recent ones, our AF1 Week 6 recap, which we just posted last night. Yep. Our UFL Panthers game travelogue, that was done, it was
last week.
Last week,
last Wednesday, yeah.
And a surprise episode of Just Lying Around, surprising because I didn't know it was coming out. Episode number 56, or Season 3, Episode 1, where Adam and Kyle talked about free agency and the upcoming draft this week.
Yeah, the NFL draft is this week. Can you believe it?
Day after tomorrow.
Yeah, but Kyle, we'll probably do another show. I don't know when, because we're going to Buffalo this weekend, so I'll have to get with Kyle. I joked that we should just do something that night since I got Friday off, so we'll see what happens. But I'm sure there'll be something post-draft. Be on the lookout for from us doing Lions Talk.
And then upcoming videos will be our AF1 Week 7 recap coming up probably Sunday or Monday next week.
Yeah, depending, because, the AF1 are only playing games Friday and Saturday. Yep. So, if we can get up Sunday, we might. Otherwise, it'll be up Monday at its usual-ish time.
We'll be on the way home from New York that day, so we'll see. Things are kind of up in the air. All right. Let's begin our weekly tour around the world of football, and we're going to start off this week with scores from Arena Football 1. We have Week 6 scores this week, and it started off on Thursday night with the Nashville Cats defeating the Washington Wolfpack, 68-20. This was a 10 p.m. start game. I was barely awake through the first half, and this was I only watched the first half of the game. Yeah. It was just way too late for me, and I think partway through the game, I think I lost connection. Yeah, I lost video, but I could still hear the game. But then it was halftime, and I thought, I think I'll just go to bed because it was pushing midnight, and not a fan of the 10 p.m. start games. But when you're out there in Washington State, it is what it is.
Yeah, so somebody put in one of the YouTube comments something about some Cats players throwing up on the field.
I heard them talking about it. They weren't showing it on the screen. It was like in the corner of the end zone or something. And they were talking about that. And they were talking about getting some people out there to clean that up. And he said that was why they stopped the broadcast. I don't know that for a fact, but it makes sense because, yes, I do remember that was going on. One of the players did throw up on the field.
Yeah, so thank you to that YouTube commenter, HGGNBTH. I don't know how to say your name, bud, but we appreciate you for dropping that. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Because I had to watch it on replay because, it was a little late for me. I was like, I'll just watch it the next morning. We talked about it on our recap, so we go a little more in depth on the game. But I don't know. I rewatched it. Nashville looks great. Nashville, I think the Nashville Cats stock is going up since their original game. And we didn't bring this up during the recap show, but they're going to get a nice rematch with Southwest Kansas this week. The team they played during week 0, and this is a totally different Cats team.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I am looking forward to that matchup.
Yeah, that should be a good game.
But the Cats, like I said, their stock's going up.
Mm-hmm.
And the Wolfpack, after they went a few weeks, waiting on their new uniforms. Well, now we've seen them wear a brand new alternate this past weekend, which was not too shabby. Nice military uniform.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
Even though they did look a little like the Milwaukee Mustangs, but that's beside the point.
All right. In a game on Saturday, it was the Salina Liberty over the Oregon Lightning, 47-32. This sounds like a close game, but it really wasn't. I think Salina was pretty much in control of this game all game long. Oregon kind of made a game of it at the end, but in the second half, but just not enough to win this game. So Salina gets their first win of the season. So good for them. Congratulations, Salina.
Yep. I was listening actually to their podcast. Liberty Nation, I think, is the name of their podcast. It's a nice little listen. They put on a nice little show. Liberty Nation, Inside Liberty Football is the podcast. If you guys want to go check it out, I've been listening to them every now and then, and I was like, since they won, I'll give them a listen. I listened to them on the drive over today. Pretty good show. They talked about some other cool behind the scenes stuff, not just about this game, but just about arena football in general. Answering some fan questions. So I think people should go check out that podcast. It was actually really well done. So shout out to those guys out there in Liberty Nation. But what a difference quarterback makes. We've known that. That's kind of been one of our pillars of rules when we talk arena football. Quarterback's one of those pillars you need.
Yep.
And they it was like right towards the end of last week's podcast that we saw on the waiver wire that they picked up. I believe it was a waiver wire. I can't remember if they picked him up, free agency. I don't know if it was a trade. I don't think it was. But Rakeem Cato, when I saw that name, I was like, ooh, that changes some things for Salina. I think between that and they might have picked up one other guy. I can't remember. The coach talked about the running back for the game too, who had like 15 carries for 50-something yards during the game. But yeah, Salina, just a totally different game for them. And we'll see what they do going forward. I think that's a step in the right direction. And I don't want it to sound like we're dogging Oregon for another loss. Oregon's got some guys. That Dalton, I like the quarterback. They got Dalton Cole, but they just got to put some stuff together, and they could be a force to be reckoned with too.
Yeah, they're a scrappy team. They just haven't been able to put it all together yet.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to another Saturday game. Southwest Kansas Storm over the Corpus Christi Tritons, 47-40. This was the first loss of the season for Corpus Christi, and it all came down to a last-second play for the win with no time on the clock.
Twice.
Yeah. I didn't get to see this game. I saw some of the highlights, but it was kind of a back-and-forth game. I think the game was tied 33-33, and then the Tritons went up 40-33, and then it was tied 40-40. Then in the closing seconds, Southwest Kansas threw a Hail Mary from their own end zone, which was completed, and it should have been the touchdown, to win the game. But there was an offensive penalty. What was it?
I think it was offensive holding.
Well, offensive holding, okay. And so the referees decided to give them one more play, even though technically, I guess that should have been, not the case.
Yeah, since there's no time on the clock and it was an offensive penalty,
right?
It should have gone to overtime, I guess.
Yeah,
is my understanding of how it should have gone. At least that's what our friend Tim said on a post about it.
Arena fan.
But they gave him another shot for some reason, and they still ended up converting that one on a
hook and ladder
play. Yeah, that was pretty nice. I mean, maybe Southwest Kansas was just destined to win that game, but heck of an ending, regardless of if they botched that call and it should have gone to overtime.
Right. That's arena football where you don't know who's going to win until the last play of the game.
I thought you were going to say because we don't know the rules.
Well, that too. We haven't seen the rule book. We haven't studied the rule book like some other folks have. So it's an assumption on our part. But that's the way. I mean, I didn't even think about it at the time. When I saw the first play,
right.
I never even thought about a penalty, so they'll get another shot, and then I didn't realize that it was an offensive penalty, so that might have been different. I don't know. But anyway, very exciting ending to that game.
Oh, yeah.
Too bad for Corpus Christi. I mean, they were at home, so Southwest Kansas comes in and wins it on a final, like a trick play, I guess. Hook and ladder, no time on the clock. What an exciting ending to that game. Okay, so then finally, the big game of the week, which turned out not to be such a big game, on Sunday was the Albany Firebirds defeating the Billings, Montana for a second week in a row. This time by the score of
The Billings
30.
Outlaws.
What did I say?
I said the Billings, Montana.
I'm sorry, the Billings Outlaw. My team. This is the team I've been rooting for the last 2 years. Defeated them 39-7. A rematch from last week when Albany beat them 62-24. So this was a little bit better, but the same result. One of the things about this game was that running back Sean McFarland didn't play in the game. That's not an excuse for why they lost, but just something that I noticed. But man, this started out 16-0 in no time. Albany scored a touchdown, and then on the ensuing kickoff, they got a deuce. And then on the first play from scrimmage for Albany or for Billings, it was a pick six. So right off the bat, 16-0, and it didn't get any better from there. Billings only scored one touchdown, and that was in the first quarter, a 4-yard touchdown, and that was it. It's just all Albany, and they are the best team in the AFL right now.
AF1.
AF1.
Yep. Look, when you lose by 70 points in 2 games, like combined, combining those two scores, they lost 101-31.
Yeah.
31 would be a shameful point output for one game, let alone 2 games back to back. That is not great if you're Billings. They got nowhere else to go but up. I'd hate to see it get worse.
Yeah.
I mean, numbers were going around about their attendance. Didn't sound like they had a great turnout. Yeah. It was one they would hope for.
It was Easter Sunday. You can maybe throw that in a little bit.
I think you could. There's an argument there.
But still, you would have thought that after losing last week and knowing that these two met in the championship game the year before, that place would have been packed. But it was Easter Sunday, so who knows? That might have had a hand in keeping people away.
Okay, we'll see. But, I mean, Albany is probably the best team. I mean, I'd probably say that without a doubt at this point. Their defense, all 3 phases of the game, 4 phases if you want to include the kicker. I feel like that's a whole phase in and of itself, but Albany's got it down. I know we got a lot of season left to play, and we're not crowning them just yet, but I mean, I think we can thoroughly put a stamp on, give them the number 1 spot right now. They are the best.
They are the only undefeated team in the AF1 right now. All right, looking ahead to next week, week 7, 3 games on Friday night. Albany Firebirds at the Corpus Christi Tritons. That should be a good game. Salina Liberty at the Billings Outlaws. That should be another good game. This is going to be your Vice game, national TV game. And then also Friday night, the Washington Wolfpack at the Oregon Lightning. That should be a pretty good game between 2 somewhat evenly matched teams out there. Both of them looking for to turn their season around already. And on Saturday, the Nashville Cats at the Southwest Kansas Storm. Another good game. So I think all these matchups are really good this week. So I'm looking forward to all those games. Do you want to go through the standings real quick?
Sure. The standings sitting right now after 6 weeks, 7 if you include week 0, which you should. Albany is 5-0, followed by Corpus Christi at 3-1, the Southwest Kansas Storm at 4-2, the Billings Outlaws and Nashville Cats at 2-2, and then you have the Oregon Lightning, Salina Liberty, and Washington Wolfpack all at 1-4.
And then you sent me this earlier today, and I watched this little video. In an interview with TMZ Sports, AF1 Commissioner Jeff Fisher says the league might expand to 16 teams in 2026, and several celebrities have expressed an interest in owning franchises in the league.
Yep, a very interesting interview. It's only about 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes long.
Right.
So he gives a little bit of information there. It's not guaranteed that they would double, but they're saying there's a lot of interest and that next year should be a big year for this league and that they've seen a lot of positivity this year. And I think they have a lot to hang their hat on. There's some stuff they definitely need to work on. We could talk about the field situations for a lot of these teams and how if they want to get, looked at more credibly, some of these fields and got to start shaping up a little bit. I think it's crazy to see you watch an AF1 game. Well, a couple teams like Albany does have a very nice field, but all these teams are kind of transitioning to this new artificial like field turf
right,
instead of the AstroTurf, which still looks nice, but I mean it's got to be better on the players to go with the field turf.
mm-hmm.
So like I know people were kind of criticizing, we even kind of jabbed at the Billings field for
right,
kind of some miscolored patches, but I'm sure
right.
that surface was still a lot better to play on than
Yeah.
the turf. But we'll see. I mean, but then you turn on an IFL game, and it's just like all those teams have very nice. I can't think of one team right now that's got a bad looking field. I'm sure somebody could correct me, but as far as AF1 though, they got a long way to go when one or two teams have actually good looking fields.
Yeah. Well, the field now, they're in those little squares, whereas before it was they rolled out like a whole thing from sideline to sideline. Now it's just all these little squares that make up the whole field. I don't know if that's easier to install or store or whatever.
I don't know. And is it not as easy to paint? I don't know. I don't know. Some of these IFL teams got it down to where they look great.
Sure.
And I know the AF1's trying to get some of these, and there's been a couple, like Billings new field does look good. Mm-hmm. Maybe they just got to coat it in some paint or do something just to hide some of those weird patches, or if those are temporary. But,
right.
I mean, like I said, it's more about functionality, I think. I won't get on them too hard, but it's functionality over
aesthetics.
I think for this year at least, but next year if you're the AF1 and you want to keep selling yourself as the premier
sure.
pinnacle, which Fisher says in
Absolutely.
that interview a couple of times, they want to be the premier, the number one.
They should be.
Then, while we think they should, they're not, because your aesthetic needs to get improved. So
They're
I'm
not
hoping
yet, but they should, and they will be.
And hey, going forward, like I said, that this year it's all about function and get to the end of the year and put out good product, which they have. They have done so much right that these nitpicks of the field and stuff is something they could address in the off season and go forward.
Yep. Okay, let's turn it over to Adam for Week 7 scores in the National Arena League.
That's right. The National Arena League is still a thing. They put up a new YouTube channel. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I have not.
Yeah, they started a new channel to broadcast games. So it's not like they got the old one back, even though they're talking to YouTube or Google or whoever about that. And I actually haven't even looked that up in a couple of days. Maybe I'll do that in a second. But we had some games this past weekend. It was Week 7 in the National Arena League. And Friday night, how about this Beaumont Renegades team? A team that's an expansion team, new to the league. And what have they done? Oh, they've just kicked the crap out of the two teams that have played in the title games. And they've done it again, beating the Columbus Lions for a second time this year, 44-37. Beaumont, I think right now, has to be considered your front runner. They just seem like they've beaten the two best teams, or the teams that were in the championship last year.
Right.
They've Columbus twice now, and they beat the Omaha Beef, who hadn't lost a game, a regular season game, in 2 years. So this Beaumont Renegades team, while early in the season, still looks legit.
Yeah, beating Columbus twice, that's a big deal.
That is
Columbus has been such a powerhouse for
in whatever
years.
league they've been in. Yeah.
Right, yeah. And to beat them twice in one season, that's pretty darn good.
Yep. Then Saturday night, we had a triple header, starting with the Wheeling Miners defeating the Carolina Cobras 46-18. Saturday night, the Omaha Beef got back in the win column by defeating the Sioux City Bandits 24-17. And then the Colorado Spartans blanked the Idaho Horsemen 49-0. It's really weird to see even a 0 in any of these indoor and arena leagues.
It's nobody gets shut out very often.
It's tough.
it's a real rarity.
You got to be real bad to not score anything.
Yeah.
And then on bye this past week, the Shreveport Rougarou. All right, next week, Week 8, we'll have a quadruple header on Saturday. So all their league games, and 3 league games and 1 exhibition game. Oh my gosh, here we go again.
Yep.
Saturday night, the Carolina Cobras will take on the Shreveport Rougarou, and then the Beaumont Renegades will take on the Sioux City Bandits. The Columbus Lions will take on the Colorado Spartans, and then the Las Vegas Kings are popping in again to fill in a spot, and they're going to go to Idaho and take on the Horsemen in that non-league exhibition game. And the Wheeling Miners and Omaha Beef are going to get buys this upcoming week.
Okay. Now we're going to move on to the IFL, and we've got something special this week. We have our friend Trey from Off the Wall, and he's going to give us an in-depth look at the Week 5 IFL games that were played this past weekend. Take it away, Trey.
World of Football guys, what is going on? Trey from Off the Wall here. Adam, Randy, hope you guys are doing well. To all the listeners, hello. Had a great set of games in the IFL this past weekend and wanted to run through them with you guys. Massachusetts Pirates went down to Duval County to face the Jacksonville Sharks. Massachusetts won this game 42-35. Quarterback Kenji Bahar for the Pirates has really improved over the past couple weeks and looked pretty good in this one. Still not perfect, still not in that elite level of quarterback in the IFL, but they don't need him to be elite in order to win some games due to all the talent that they have on both sides of the ball. Bahar did end up going 16 for 20 for 158 yards and a touchdown through the air, as well as 2 tush-push touchdowns / pirate plunder / Bahar specials. I don't know, we're workshopping some names from the 1 yard line to punch it in. Running back Puka Williams also had a strong day, 2 touchdowns on the ground. He was able to pick up some crucial first downs down the line to be able to seal this win in Duval County. The Pirates have really turned things around with since the arrival of Martin Theus at offensive coordinator, and starting off 0-2, they're slowly but surely starting to look like the Pirates that we're used to. But for Jacksonville, this game needs to be a wake-up call for their offense. Quarterback Caleb Barker just hasn't looked great. He's just looked okay. He made some really poor decisions in this one that led to some untimely turnovers and ultimately tilted the game in Massachusetts' favor. Jimmy Robinson was banged up a few weeks ago in Tucson, and Tyler King got injured in this one. And suddenly, the running back position group for this Jacksonville offense that looks so deadly and so stacked is down to 1 running back in Ed Vander. So they're going to have to get things figured out on offense. And they were able to move the ball pretty well. They just weren't able to punch it into the end zone. And for a team that really prides itself on its offensive line and the college pedigree that they have there, they should be able to impose their will a little bit. So this Jacksonville offense has to wake up and has to do better, because right now they are the last placed scoring offense in the Eastern Conference. And when you look at the talent that they have on paper, it just doesn't make sense. They should not be there. And considering they're 3-1 with the number 1 defense in the league and the last place offense in the Eastern Conference, that's usually not a good long-term formula. So they have to get things figured out. But moving over to Bay Area at Fishers. I know you guys are big Fishers guys, going to the opening home game a few weeks back. Well, Bay Area, those are big Fishers guys as well. Bay Area came into this one and won the game 57-41. Bay Area is just a wrecking ball. They're just so good. They stumble a little bit out of the gate, but on offense, they're starting to figure things out, and their defense is just absolutely legendary, doing tremendous things. They had 5 interceptions in this one, with defensive back Tyler Watson getting 3 of them, running 1 back for a touchdown and running 1 back all the way to like the 6-inch line. And they just made life difficult for that Fishers offense. And Fishers was only able to complete 4 passes, but Bay Area intercepted the ball 5 times. So more passes were completed to Bay Area players than Fishers players when Fishers was on offense. Crazy to think about. But for Fishers, this was a rough go. And they have a little bit of a quarterback controversy on their hands. Jaya Wright has been starting the games up until this point. But they started Keegan Shoemaker from Sam Houston State, and his first pro start in this one, and he didn't do too hot through the air, but he was able to get things going on the ground. 16 carries for 93 yards, 4 touchdowns. John Lewis at running back, 19 carries, 87 yards, and a touchdown. This Fishers offense looks good when they're running the ball, but throwing the ball, they just don't have the answer just yet. So the quarterback decision that Coach Wooten is going to have to make, it's going to be interesting to see what direction he ends up taking here. And moving over to San Antonio, Gunslingers at the Tulsa Oilers. Tulsa won this game 45-31. As you guys know, I was big on Tulsa heading into the season. I felt like they had a very high ceiling, and this was the first game where I feel like they started to scratch the surface of their potential as a total team. Last week, Tulsa's offense just absolutely exploded, scoring 68 points, but they ended up losing that game in overtime just because the defense wasn't able to put it together. So the first couple games, defense had their act together. Offense took some time. The roles reversed last week, and this week they put together a really complete game. TJ Edwards had 6 total touchdowns on the day. They were able to jump out to a 21-point lead in the third quarter and really just able to lean on San Antonio and kill the rest of the clock to improve to 2-2 on the year. The Tulsa defense really stepped up in this one after giving up 74 points last week and held the San Antonio offense that scored 55 last week against Arizona to just 24 this week. So for Tulsa, team leading wide receiver Faison McClurge got the call up to the UFL in the league leading up to this game, actually playing for the Michigan Panthers. So I know you guys are big Panthers guys, but that leaves a big hole for Tulsa to fill, and they have a collection of wide receivers that should be able to get the job done and to continue their current run of form. But for San Antonio, they've got some soul searching to do in this one. Quarterback Malik Henry struggled quite a bit in this one, and outside of one long running play by backup quarterback Guy Myers in the fourth quarter, this running game was pretty non-existent for the Gunslingers. Last year, they also didn't have much of a running game, but they had a little guy by the name of Sam Castronova at quarterback who was able to overcome it. They don't have that luxury this year, so they don't have an identity right now, and they really got to get things figured out on offense. They lost some key pieces on defense, so their defense isn't carrying them anymore. Their offense doesn't have an identity. They're just in a bad spot, and they need to get things figured out. They have some pieces on offense I think could be an answer to their running game. I like C.J. Odom personally. I love the way he plays, but he hasn't been on the active roster for the past couple of weeks. So San Antonio's got to get some pieces in the mix on the running game and really get some things sorted out to give Malik Henry some time to get acclimated, or we might be moving on from Henry sooner than later if that doesn't happen soon. And the last game of the weekend is going to be the Tucson Sugar Skulls at the Northern Arizona Wranglers. Tucson won this game 44-24, and this was an ugly one, guys. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Sugar Skull, sugarcoat. See what I did there? Both teams came into this one. They were looking for their first win and looking to get some momentum. And Tucson, they've had quarterback issues for the past 2 years, it seems like. And they brought in two new faces at quarterback, George Reyna and Larry Harrington. George Reyna from San Antonio, Larry Harrington from Arizona. And Reyna ended up getting the start in this one, with Harrington actually playing time at wide receiver and leading the team in receptions. So quarterback leading the team in receptions. That's fun. And then he actually came in later into the game in the fourth quarter to help run the clock with the game in hand. But Reyna looked really, really good in this one, especially compared to some past Tucson quarterback performances from this year, and they should get better and get more time under their belt. But this Tucson defense looks really, really good. They shut out this Wranglers offense in the second half. They ended up blocking a field goal, then recovered it for a touchdown in the second half, and they just played really well. So they played really well against Jacksonville Sharks last week or 2 weeks ago. Played really well against Northern Arizona here, and they're in the win column for the first time this year, and this Tucson team could be a little spicy, could be a little dangerous down the line. But for Northern Arizona, it seemed like one of the few opportunities they had to get a win, and they just couldn't get it done. C.J. Fowler at quarterback hasn't really turned in a great performance this year so far. The offense has yet to crack 30 points in a game. Fowler ended up 10 for 20 for 121 yards, 2 touchdowns and an INT, but was also sacked 5 times. And if you take away one long 41-yard touchdown pass to Deshaun Stoudemire, the offense really wasn't impressive. And I think similar to San Antonio, they need to get the running game figured out. They need to get some people involved and take some of the pressure off C.J. Fowler to have to do it all. I think they have some pieces that can do it. David Elder at wide receiver, he's a solid choice. Marvin Kinsey at that running back wide receiver hybrid role, I think he's a great option to be able to pair him up with C.J. Fowler. It's just a matter of how they can do it and get that running game going. So they've faced some tough defenses to start the year. It's an uphill climb for this Northern Arizona team. But they're going to have to be able to score more than 30 points, more than 40 points to be competitive in this league. And the Wranglers need to get it figured out as soon as possible. Otherwise, it's going to be a very, very, very long season. And I'm not sure where they find a win at this point if they're not able to beat Tucson at home. So, guys, appreciate the time. Everyone, have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the upcoming slate of games in the IFL. We've got some good ones, and as well as the rest of the arena world. So, Adam, Randy, back to you guys.
Thanks, Trey. You guys can follow Off the Wall on YouTube and multiple social media platforms. Just search for Off the Wall FB, that's F as in foot, B as in ball, and you'll be able to find all of Trey's great stuff that he's doing over there.
I'm telling you, he has a great follow on X. His social media game is, I say it all the time, and I'm not just doing that to blow smoke up Trey's behind. He is legit one of the best. And we even had to tweet out. Did you see? I used the World of Football account to retweet out his setup for watching games. He is a dedicated individual.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
It kills me when I see something posted by the World of Football and I didn't put it out there. Even I know you have access to it too, but it seems like I'm always the one.
You only need to be concerned when it's not me.
All right.
But there were some teams on bye real quick. The Green Bay Blizzard, San Diego Strike Force, Vegas Nighthawks, Quad City Steamwheelers, Iowa Barnstormers, and Arizona Rattlers were all on bye this past week in the Indoor Football League. And I know Dad wants to preview the games coming up next week.
Yes, we have 4 games on Saturday. the Vegas Nighthawks at the San Antonio Gunslingers, the Jacksonville Sharks at the Quad City Steamwheelers, Fisher's Freight at the Iowa Barnstormers, and the Northern Arizona Wranglers at the Arizona Rattlers. Then on Sunday, we have 2 more games, the Green Bay Blizzard at Massachusetts Pirates, and the Tucson Sugar Skulls at the San Diego Strike Force, with 2 teams on bye, the Bay Area Panthers and the Tulsa Oilers.
Yeah, a little bummed I didn't get to actually watch the Fisher's Freight game like I thought I could because my account expired for the IFL Network because I refused to pay for it till they fix some of the streaming stuff so I can cast it and watch it on my TV. Because I got a 70-inch TV for a reason, dang it, and I want to watch my Fisher's Freight on there. But Bay Area handed it to them this past week. I saw that, and it bummed me out a little bit. But, look, the IFL is doing great stuff. And, again, we thank Trey for popping in and doing that.
Yes.
He's just so much more knowledgeable about that stuff. I know we can only spread ourselves so thin, and as much as we love talking IFL, his grasp on everything is just so much more in depth than ours. And, look, they're playing great football there in the IFL, and they deserve to be recognized because it is the pinnacle of the indoor/arena ecosphere. So, so go over to check out Trey's stuff, guys. I'm serious when I say he does fantastic work over there. We are glad that he decided to partner with us to do this little spot on the show.
Yep,
it's been something we've been talking about for a while, and our schedules have kind of been weird, and he's got so much on his plate too.
Yeah,
geez, so.
It's hard to believe anybody's as busy as we are when it comes to indoor and arena football.
Right, and he condensed down what he could have probably talked about for a whole show down to about 8 minutes. So
he's got his own show, so he's taking time out of his schedule to help us out.
And he's a great interviewer. He always starts his podcast off with a great interview with a player from he had the the Beaumont Renegades player last week on his show. Great stuff. Go check it out, guys. You will not be disappointed. And starting next week, we'll start covering the standings at the end of the IFL segment because they're getting into their well into their season. So now it's time to start looking at what teams are pulling away in the pack.
Right.
Okay. While Dad's fiddling over there on his computer, I will now take the reins as we are going to now talk United Football League. That's right. UFL action. It was week 4, and it got kicked off Friday night as the Michigan Panthers took out the Memphis Showboats 27-9. Memphis head coach Ken Wisenhunt resigned midweek before the game. That was a big story. And offensive line coach Tim Turner took over as interim head coach there for the Showboats.
Jim Turner, apologies. Michigan was up 14-9 at the half. There was no scoring in the third, and the Panthers scored 2 more touchdowns in the fourth to shut Memphis out in that second half. We were kind of having a little group chat with our buddy Royce, who's covering the Showboats for the Alternative Football Network. Yep.
So that was a lot of fun. I passed out or went to bed as soon as that clock hit zeros. I turned the TV off, went to bed, so I didn't even get to say bye in the group chat.
Yeah.
I saw it in the morning. You guys kind of said it, and I was like, I forgot to message.
That was another late night game, so I'm surprised I stayed awake for all that.
Yeah, and the Panthers looked pretty good. The Showboats had flashes, but they just couldn't really get anything going. Then Saturday we had a doubleheader as the Arlington Renegades. This was a bit of a surprise. Took out the St. Louis Battlehawks 30-15.
Arlington's a little better than we expected them to be this year.
I think so. They got some guys on that squad, and St. Louis might not be as good as we all thought too. They had some flashes in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Now I think they're starting to show some chinks in the armor. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that goes going forward. They got an interesting test coming up here this upcoming week, and then. Let's see. I lost my place for a second. The Birmingham Stallions, the 3-time spring champions, defeated the Houston Roughnecks 23-16. Houston still gave them a game though, only lost by a touchdown and an extra point. So Stallions are going to stallion, I guess. They're still the best team until proven otherwise at the end of the year. And then this game, the San Antonio Brahmas got their first win of the season by defeating the DC Defenders, who get their first loss of the season, 24-18 this game. Head coach Wade Phillips for the Brahmas, though, announced Wednesday that he's taking a leave of absence from the team, and they have promoted offensive coordinator Peyton Pardee. So clearly something, whatever that little change was, helped them out. They had a big win. I think Pardee also took over for the offensive coordinator that left the week before that.
Oh, wow.
So he's quickly moved up the ladder there in San Antonio, but they look like they're playing a little differently the last couple of weeks. With Pardee as the coordinator last week against the Panthers, they look like they could move the ball. And then this past week, getting a big win against the undefeated Defenders. So keep an eye on San Antonio. Maybe their stock is starting to go in the other direction after starting off 0-3.
Yeah, Peyton Pardee is the son of Jack Pardee, who was the head coach in the NFL. I recognize that name.
Okay, the upcoming games for this weekend in the UFL will start Friday night as the Showboats take on the Birmingham Stallions. Then Saturday, you got a doubleheader as the Michigan Panthers travel to St. Louis to take on the Battlehawks. And then, actually, that was the only game Saturday. Then 2 games on Sunday, sorry. The first being the Defenders taking on the Renegades. That should be an interesting game. Both teams 3-1. And then the Roughnecks and Brahmas at 1-3 apiece taking on each other that evening. So should be some very interesting games this weekend that could tell us a lot about some of these teams and start separating themselves. As now we're halfway through the season.
Yeah.
We'll be talking UFL playoffs before we know it.
Yeah, really. All right, let's move on to some more happenings in the world of football. We're going to start talking about the NFL right now. I discovered this new show the other day. I don't think you've seen this or heard about this, but there's a new show on the A&E network. It's one of their original shows. It's called Stadium Lockup. Have you heard of this?
I have not heard of this.
Okay. It's on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There have been 5 episodes so far, and it's all about the security folks at the Cleveland Browns Stadium.
What the heck?
Each week is a different game. So they started out, with week 1 or whatever, the first home game, and they're working their way through the season. And so the one I just saw last week, the 5th episode, it was a game against the Steelers, and it was November, and it was snowing to beat the band. And it's all about the behind-the-scenes security folks, just under 1,000 security people and medical staff. They're there to, people slip and fall on the ice, which several people did in the stadium, people getting in fights. So it's how they deal with drunk fans,
security, just at an NFL game.
It's fascinating. It really is.
And this is on the A&E network.
A&E network. Yep, it's an original A&E network show. And I didn't know anything about it, never heard about it, and all of a sudden I found it like last week, and they had like 3 or 4 episodes in a row, and I watched a little bit of it, but I recorded the one that was on just the other night and watched the whole thing. So yeah, it's they've got their own little jail. They've got like 4 different cells that they can put people in while they wait for the police to come and arrest the person.
Now is that your new goal is to get in one of those jail cells?
No, absolutely not. But yeah, they're detaining and they're ejecting rowdy fans. Several people had to be walked out, and boy, they were not happy about it. People throwing things on the field. One guy threw a snowball at somebody, and they ejected him. In one of the early games, a guy threw a single peanut onto the field at one of the players, and he got ejected too. So it's wild. It's wild. Check it out and see what you think.
Interesting. I'll have to definitely check that out. And then I brought this to your attention.
Yeah, I didn't know about this.
Because it was funny because I was like, hey, have you heard about this show called Culture of Winning, Polynesian Football Pride? And you were like, no, I have not heard of this. And I was like, well, didn't you see the advertisement for it during the Michigan Panthers game? And you said, nope.
Well, I was watching that game on a bit of a delay, so I was
skipping through the
commercials. So yeah, that's probably where I missed it.
That's probably why you missed it. But then I didn't realize that it was airing Sunday night.
Sunday
night. So I haven't checked it out. But when I saw the trailer for it, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool because it's a documentary from Fox Sports featuring, I think the main guy is going to be Tua Tagovailoa, but it'll also feature Lions offensive lineman Penei Sewell and Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua. So, and then I think there's a couple other college players from the Polynesian.
I'd like to watch it.
It sounds interesting.
Sorry I didn't see it.
I know, yeah, it sounds interesting. I haven't heard anything else about it, but when I saw that commercial, I was like, well, we gotta at least bring that up because I didn't think it was going to be out for another week or 2. But it was that Sunday. Missed it because it was Easter. But
I'm sure it'll be on Fox Sports Net, FS1, whatever.
Yeah.
A couple of different times. So yeah, if I see it, I'm going to record it and I'll watch it.
And then there weren't a whole lot of other NFL stories, but I did have a question for you because I'm scrolling through, keeping up on X, figuring out if there's any breaking news. But I was going to ask you. So we heard that the Pope passed away yesterday, right?
Yes. Yep.
So my question to you, and here's a nice little trivia question: who is the only NFL, NBA, or MLB team to not make the postseason during Pope Francis's tenure? The only franchise.
Ooh, let's see. Well, it's not the Lions anymore. And NFC or AFC?
I'll give you one hint. It's the AFC.
AFC. Ooh, the Jets?
You are correct.
That was just a guess. I had no idea.
I just can't believe the only NBA, NFL, or MLB team. That's crazy.
Wow,
Especially,
it is.
especially considering how bad the Pistons have been the last few years.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Pistons just won their first playoff game since 2008 over the weekend. I was excited about that, watching that game the other night.
Yeah,
So.
and he wasn't Pope for that long. With
I'm not sure how long
4 or
his
5
tenure
years.
was.
I'm
It
not
was
sure.
longer than that, I'm sure. But.
Well, I remember when he was put in, but yeah, it just doesn't seem like it had been that long.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on. I've got some college football stories here. Lee Corso is retiring from ESPN's College Game Day pregame show. He's been on that thing for 38 years from the very beginning. It's going to be so strange to not see him there. But we will get to see him one last time. His final appearance on that show is going to be on Saturday, August 30th. I can't imagine that show without Lee Corso.
It's going to be tough.
He is such an icon with that show and predicting the games and always putting on the mascot head or whatever for the last pick at that stadium wherever they're at. It's so iconic.
The whole college football game day is an institution. Well, I don't watch every college game day or every week,
Sure.
because it's a 3 or 4 hour show. I'm just like, I ain't got time. Usually I'm working on a Saturday sometimes, so I don't get to catch it. But I mean, you know who Lee Corso is.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a bummer. I know they've kind of tweaked it. I think now that they got McAfee and they always do like the fan kick now, that's kind of a new tradition that, it's kind of fun for those college game day experiences. And the show just keeps growing and growing. It's nuttier and nuttier whenever they go to all these different campuses. So they'll be fine. I think it will miss a little bit of that magic. Because there was always something when Corso would come on and not so fast, my friend.
Yep.
We'll miss that.
That's going to be an iconic
I'm sure
phrase.
other guys will try to do it, but it won't be the same. It stinks when an absolute legend has to, call it quits. But at least it sounds like he's doing it on his terms. I don't know if there's any other illness or anything behind the scenes, but to me right now, I like to think of it as it's him going out when he wants to go out, hopefully, and not ESPN pushing him out for some other younger heartthrob like a Nick Saban.
Well, I remember when Lee Corso was the head coach of the USFL's Orlando Renegades back in 1985 for their last season.
Because you owed.
Yeah. And I just found this. Somebody posted something yesterday that I saw. I don't think I reposted it, but he was also part of the ESPN broadcasting team in 1987 that did the first Arena Football League broadcast on ESPN.
Wow.
On ESPN. Yeah. So he's done Arena Football. He's done USFL coaching. The man is just an icon.
Yep.
The only thing I can liken this to is the guy's name is escaping me.
Ooh.
The one college football announcer that used to go, "Whoa, Nelly!"
Oh my God, not Brock Meyer.
No, I can't. It'll come to me. I'll think of it here in a minute. But I mean, he was an icon, and when he retired, it's like college football lost a lot. And Lee Corso is the exact same way. I feel the same way about Lee Corso. He's just been such an icon in college football for so many years that, boy. He's going to be missed.
Keith Jackson is who you're thinking of.
Keith Jackson, yes. He was just an iconic voice in college football, and so great. Let's move on to another story here. This story is so weird. Former Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava has officially announced that he has committed to UCLA. His representatives are saying that it was not about money, as it had been reported, but the style of offense that was being played at Tennessee that caused him to not show up for the spring game and join the protocol, even though everybody said that he wanted to renegotiate his NIL deal, get a couple million more in that. Now his people are denying that. But who knows? Quarterback Joey Aguilar is also going to transfer to
to UCLA.
Oh, yeah. Quarterback Joey Aguilar, who transferred to UCLA just a few months ago from Appalachian State, is now going to Tennessee in a kind of a quarterback swap for those two schools.
Gee, a trade in college football.
Basically, yeah, that's what it's amounting to. And get this, Nico's younger brother, Madden, who also plays quarterback, is going to join his brother Nico on the Bruins team after transferring from Arkansas. Now get this, Madden, an incoming freshman, was originally committed to UCLA before changing his mind in December and enrolling at Arkansas instead. And now he's back at UCLA with his brother, both quarterbacks. They're both from the Los Angeles area, so it's kind of like they're going home to play college football. I don't know how I feel about two brothers playing quarterback. How's this going to be? Big brother's the starter. Young little brother is the backup, and maybe he'll play better than his big brother. Who knows? This is a weird situation. This whole thing, we talked about it last week, and he wanted more NIL money. That was what was reported, and so they basically said nope, and so he left the school or whatever. And it's just such a weird thing that we'll probably be keeping an eye on this throughout the next season to see what's going on between UCLA and Tennessee.
All right, we do have a breaking college story, or an alert, I guess. It's not a big story, but might be interesting to those. This is the alert from ESPN. The Rose Bowl is going to move its kickoff time up to 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time as part of the New Year's Day college football playoff quarterfinal triple header. So get to watch the Rose Bowl a little earlier this year.
Well, that's always good. Yeah, I've always liked watching the Rose Bowl, but sometimes it does come on awfully late. You got to wait around all day for that.
So that's kind of the breaking news that just came out of college football. Appropriate that we were still in that segment.
Okay, good. Let's see. Finally, there's a football movie coming out. You told me about this a week or so ago.
Well, we knew it was coming for a while, but we finally got the trailer for it this past weekend.
Yeah, and you're into movies, so yeah, you've been more up to speed on this. But the movie is called Him, H-I-M. And I can't figure out what the title has to do with the movie, but I watched the trailer. It's coming out September 19th, and it's football and zombies.
I love it. Yeah, describe it to me. What did you see?
It was too weird to even explain to you. But the producer is Jordan Peele of Key & Peele. The movie is going to star Marlon Wayans of the Wayans family and Tyreek Withers, an actor and former football player from Florida State University. This is so weird. The way the story is that this guy gets invited to a special camp, like a training camp run by a guy out in the middle of nowhere, and it's like he goes through all kinds of psychological stuff. I don't know if he's seeing things or what, but this guy's screaming at him, "What will you do to succeed?" And he says, "I'll do anything." So,
a promising young up and coming football player, played by Tyreek Withers, is invited to train at the isolated compound of a dynasty team's aging quarterback one. The legendary, almost retired quarterback, played by Marlon Wayans, takes his protege on a blood-chilling journey into the inner sanctum of fame, desire, power, and pursuit of excellence at all costs. Look, even I didn't know what I watched watching this trailer.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, him is just, that reference, players always, I'm him. Like, I am that guy.
Okay.
So I think that's what it just refers to. And I don't know if it has something to do with demons. I saw some demon iconography. There was a weird goat man in the trailer. Somebody getting hit in the face with the football, what is that? The jug machine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Somebody's going to get their head taken off by a football from a jug machine. Randy, this could be the weirdest, most fun football movie we've ever watched.
I don't think this movie's for me. I don't care
Clearly
for
it's
horror
not.
movies. But
but I will be happy to report back that week.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you'll be right in line the first night to go see that.
It ain't often we get to do football on film here anymore. So.
But see, I didn't know whether to put this in the NFL or the college section, so I made it its own.
It's its own thing.
Because the teams are... They look made up for the movie, so I don't know if it's a made up college team or if it's a made up pro team.
It's probably made up everything, just to save the headache. But it should be interesting. I know Jordan Peele does a lot of horror, but he's just a producer on this.
Right.
The actual director is Justin Tipping. I am not familiar with the name, but it's still interesting. I think the premise is weird, and I like a weird movie. All I care about is if it's good or not. And you probably will never watch it, but I look forward to even just describing it to you. And just hearing you try to describe the trailer is entertaining to me because it was weird.
I don't know what I was watching.
Even I didn't know. I was watching it, and my fiance was in the other room working, and I was watching it on the TV. And there was a point where I just had to say, WTF. Like, I said it out loud, and she's like, what are you watching? And she comes out and watches it, and at like the exact same moment, even she was like, what the? And, same thing. So it's a weird trailer, but it's got my interest at least.
Yeah, give me the Kurt Warner movie. What is it? American Underdog.
American Underdog.
Yeah, I'll take that one over this one any day. All right, today's birthdays and anniversaries. On this date, this is April 22nd. On this date in 2004, Army Ranger Pat Tillman was killed by friendly fire in Afghanistan. He played defensive back for the University of Arizona and the Arizona Cardinals. In the NFL, he was with the NFL team for 4 seasons from 1998 to 2001. After 2001, he just felt like football wasn't doing it for him anymore, that he needed to do more after 9/11. And he joined the Army Rangers and was sent to Afghanistan, where he was eventually shot and killed. Great book about this, written by his mother. It's called Boots on the Ground. If you want to know the entire story, pick that book up and check that out. Very complicated story about what happened to him. But the bottom line is he was killed by friendly fire, and the military tried to cover it up at first.
Oof.
Yep. And the family did not take no for an answer, and they finally found out the true story. So very, very interesting book. Not a happy book, but I think it's important. And Pat Tillman, we went out to do the Pat Tillman run a few years ago.
Yeah.
That was quite an experience. And so that's the anniversary today, April 22nd, 2004. Pat Tillman killed. Let's see. On a lighter note, running back Marshawn Lynch turns 39 today. He played his college football at California and was the 12th overall pick in the 2007 NFL Draft by the Buffalo Bills. He played 12 NFL seasons. He was with the Bills from 2007 to 2009. Then he was traded to the Seattle Seahawks during the 2009 season and stayed there until 2015. He retired in 2016, and then he came back and played for the Oakland Raiders 2017 and 2018, and returned to Seattle in 2019. Won a Super Bowl. Was it with Seattle?
Seattle.
Okay. Yep. So one-time Super Bowl champ. So yep. Marshawn Lynch's birthday today. Happy birthday, Marshawn.
Funny dude.
Just saw a new commercial with him for something. I don't even know what it was.
He's
He's everywhere.
He's popping up in something, and he's usually pretty great.
Did you ever see that series where they had people pretending to be on Mars?
I never watched that. No.
It was like a thing out in Australia where they train for Mars mission, and he was part of that reality show.
Right.
And I mean, he's into everything. All kinds of commercials and the intros to the Thursday Night Football. You usually see him on that. So yeah, Marshawn's everywhere. All right, let's get to a couple of obituaries this week. This is where we take a moment to honor those who have made the world of football a better place. The first obituary is that of Ron Garden, a wide receiver and defensive back in the NFL for 2 seasons, has passed away at the age of 80. Garden played college football at Arizona and was selected in the 6th round of the 1970 NFL Draft by the Baltimore Colts. He played for the Colts in 1970 and 1971, winning Super Bowl V with the team. He was traded to the New England Patriots during the 1971 season, where he ended his brief playing career.
All right, and our second and final obituary this week is that of Ray White, a linebacker in the NFL for 4 seasons, has passed away at the age of 75. White played college football at Syracuse and was selected in the 5th round of the 1971 NFL Draft by the San Diego Chargers. He played for the Chargers in 1971 and 1972. He also played for the St. Louis Cardinals in 1975 and 1976.
All right, finally today, our upcoming events calendar. This Friday and Saturday, Adam and I are going to be in Springville, New York for a meeting of the Western New York chapter of the Pro Football Researchers Association. Always have a great time. This is your 3rd year going?
My 3rd time going, yeah.
Yeah, and it's always a good time. A lot of researchers from the Buffalo area.
Yeah.
Ton of them over there.
No idea. We don't have anything planned in terms of videos or interviews, but
I do have an interview to do.
Oh,
yes.
he failed to tell me that part.
Oh, Gary Cobb.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to get that video in.
Right on.
They also asked me to do a presentation during this thing.
Should I record it and put it on the website?
Maybe.
Or YouTube?
We'll see.
Oh,
We'll see how long it's going to be. I probably made it longer than I should have, but
okay.
I'm going to be talking about some of my grave visits that I've been to over the years. So, yeah, I'm the last speaker, so they're saving the best for last.
Oh boy, that's why.
Also, this Thursday through Saturday, the NFL Draft is taking place in Green Bay. That should be interesting. I was watching a little bit of Good Morning Football this morning, and they were showing the stage and everything being set up outside the stadium, and should be pretty good show. I mean,
the draft
visually,
has
it's going to be
evolved
pretty
into
cool.
just a spectacle now. So
Yeah.
it's just, I'm curious to see what Green Bay does. They won't hold the candle to Detroit,
No.
but I'd like to see what they do.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I wonder if Tom Grossi is going to be there.
Oh,
He's going to be.
probably be there.
Let's see. Also, this Saturday, April 26th, the Women's Football Alliance season begins. We're going to have random scores this year like we always do because there's just so many teams around the country.
They
can't
have different
get every
divisions
score.
and levels.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, my gosh. 3 different levels. And
we'll have to try to get out to a game in Grand Rapids. They have a Grand Rapids team.
I think there's one in Lansing, too, but I'm not.
Oh.
It might be a different
League?
League, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But, yeah, there's.
All the more reason to go check out another team in a
Sure.
different league.
Yeah,
Shoot.
I'm up for it. All right, Tuesday, April 29th, the CFL draft is going to be taking place in Toronto, along with their global draft, where they pick players from the European League of Football and the one in Mexico.
And
some
the
of other
only way
leagues.
you can listen to it is if you can wiretap. So good luck, everybody else.
Well, they do it on a phone call, but I think TSN also does kind of cover it live up there. If you can pull in TSN from Canada, which I can't. All right, let's see. Moving into the month of May, Friday, May 2nd, La Liga de Fútbol Americano Profesional is going to begin their season. Saturday, May 17th, the European League of Football season begins. Monday, May 19th, the CFL preseason begins. And on Friday, May 30th, the Arena League season begins. So more football coming next month.
Right, and I believe, I haven't seen it officially yet, but there's a rumor that the Kansas City Goats of the Arena League are changing their name to the St. Joseph Goats. I saw that somewhere. I haven't seen the team officially announce that yet, so I don't know. Maybe that'll be a story for next week.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. All right. Anything else pop up on your phone? I know you've been dealing with your phone quite a bit today during the show.
Yeah, they apparently might have changed the title of the Supergirl movie to just Supergirl. That's a big deal there. But if we're talking about football related stuff,
football is what I'm talking about.
I got nothing else as of right now. So
okay.
I think we can wrap the show up.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all for this week then. Don't forget to check out the World of Football merchandise store at tpublic.com for the latest football-related T-shirts, hats, mugs, and more from our merch store. And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than the two of us guys sitting here in Kalamazoo talking about football every week. Join us again next time when we'll try and do a better job. Yeah, right. And I've been Randy Snow.
And I'm Adam Snow. And thanks again to our friend Trey for popping in and dropping a great segment on today's episode.
Thank you very much, Trey. And we'll see you all again next week.
Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this installment of This Week in the World of Football. New episodes of the podcast are posted every Tuesday and can be found wherever good podcasts are found. You can find the World of Football on Facebook, Instagram, and X by searching for TWOF Kalamazoo or using the links down in the episode description. Head on over to YouTube and subscribe to the World of Football for more fun football-related content. Just search for the World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle @the World of Football. Thanks for listening and hope to see you again next time.